Do you have PCOS and do you want to get your body to this place where it's healthy, you have optimal fertility, you have regular cycles, and you are that much closer to baby? If that's you, then you are in exactly the right place. This podcast is made for you. Welcome to the PCOS Fertility Health Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Angela Potter. I am an integrative PCOS fertility doctor, the creator of the PCOS Fertility Protocol, and helping women across the country turn around their PCOS and have the best chance at getting pregnant. I am thrilled that you're here today. If you're a new listener, welcome. Welcome to this community of women who are fun, dynamic, exciting, and are committed to turning around their health, getting to the root cause of their fertility struggles, and making changes so that they can grow the family of their dreams. And if that sounds like you, then you're in exactly the right place. And if you are a longtime listener, welcome back. I love having you here in this community. You are what makes this community such a wonderful place. Today, I'm really excited about this episode because we're going to talk about 5 simple and delicious foods to keep in your pantry that are going to help propel your fertility forward. Before becoming a doctor, I was a nutritionist. Nutrition and food is my first love in the world of health. I love to cook and to talk about food. And so when I put these episodes together, I get really excited. So I hope you're excited too. Before we jump into it today, I want to be sure, have you checked out one of my upcoming masterclasses? These PCOS fertility masterclasses are the next step to understand the path forward to pregnancy. And so you are going to learn about success stories from other women who were in your same shoes at one point, who had been trying to get pregnant for 6 years, 7 years, 11 years, and trying all these different things that weren't working. And then you're going to learn, okay, what was it that got them over to that place where they were having regular cycles, they ovulated, and they were able to get pregnant with their sweet babies. And you'll understand these common misconceptions that are out there in the fertility world, how they're actually keeping you stuck, and the single most important next step you can take so that you are supporting your body for baby. So grab a free ticket to one of those upcoming masterclasses over at drangelapotter.com/PCOS-class. I will have that link in the show notes for you. So let's dive into this pantry overhaul today that we are going to talk about. Here's why this is important. More than just, foods to have in your pantry, but food is the foundation of good fertility health. Food sets your body up with antioxidants and fiber and nutrients so that your body is in a place where it's ready to have a baby. So often in the fertility world, many doctors and other practitioners are giving this recommendation to women with PCOS to say, well, just go lose weight and everything's going to open up for you. And they don't give that next step of nutrition help, nutrition guidance. And so many women, maybe yourself included, are just left to their own devices and looking on the internet for what diets can help with fertility. A lot of information out there is still that information about cutting calories, about carb-free diets for PCOS, and a lot of this diet information that leads to a lot of restrictive eating and eating in a way that's really stressful. And even though this certain diet of low carb, no carb worked for those people that you read about on the internet, it doesn't always mean that it's going to work for everyone. In fact, most diets don't work for everyone. And that's why it's so important to understand your own body's needs and how to nourish it in a way that's specific to what your body needs. What's your PCOS type? And how are you nourishing your body in order to support your PCOS type? What came up on your PCOS diagnosis? Do you also have a thyroid condition like Hashimoto's, which is so common with PCOS? And are you nourishing your body in a way that's supporting your thyroid and also your PCOS and your fertility? So there's no one diet out there that's going to help everybody. But because food and nutrition is such an important foundation, and so many women are getting this advice like just lose weight, go eat 500 calories a day and you'll be fine. There's a lot of Ozempic use out there, which no judgment from me, but that is coming from that perspective of the only thing about fertility is losing weight. And so it needs to be less about the weight loss piece and more about the nourishment piece, more about how are you supporting your body with these key nutrients that are setting you up for good egg quality, optimal hormones, lower stress, and ultimately getting forward to baby. These 5 foods are a really good stepping stone for that. So let's dive in. Food number 1 is lentils, like green lentils, French lentils. They're these beautiful little tiny, tiny beans. Red lentils are great too, but I'll give you a couple of recipe ideas, and I really like the green lentils. You can also find black lentils. These are excellent sources of fiber. They actually have been well researched for insulin resistance, and the amount of fiber in these lentils helps to regulate blood sugar levels after eating. And they also help to regulate insulin resistance. They have a really low glycemic index, which means that they don't spike blood sugar levels really quickly. And that's what you're looking for when you want a nice balanced blood sugar level throughout the day. You want your blood sugar to just rise a little bit, not spike. And so that's what low glycemic index means, is that it's just going to rise a little bit and set your body up for this nice rhythm throughout the day. And so these green or black lentils are really delicious. They are easy to find in grocery stores. They are pretty quick to cook in the world of beans. If you're cooking beans and not getting canned beans, garbanzo beans or kidney beans, those can take a couple of hours sometimes to cook if you're not soaking them in advance. And even if you do soak them, right, you have to prepare hours beforehand in order to be thinking about your meal. But lentils, they can be cooked in a good, 20 to 30 minutes. They are delicious in soups, or you can cook them on their own and then make a salad. I love throwing like roasted beets in there and some feta with a little vinaigrette. That makes a delicious salad that you can keep in the fridge and just pull out when you need something easy for dinner or added to your lunch. So these lentils are one of the top things that I recommend to have in the pantry. The second food to keep in your pantry is brown rice or oatmeal, a really nice, easy to find whole grain. Now, after being a nutritionist and working as a doctor for a decade, I do not believe that a successful PCOS fertility diet needs to be grain-free. In fact, I see that whole grains are a really important part of optimal fertility. Whole grains, they contain important nutrients and minerals for supporting the body for fertility. They are chock full of good fiber, and that fiber helps to bind excess estrogens and move those out of the body to regulate estrogens, to help with ovulation. The fiber in there and these whole grains, they help to regulate blood sugar levels. There's lots of research about the benefits of whole grains in a diet to help with that blood sugar output and insulin output, and to regulate that to help your body on a regular basis to help with blood sugar. Now, oatmeal and brown rice, those, in my opinion, are the easiest whole grains to find, and usually the cheapest as well. So oatmeal, you can be using steel cut oats or rolled oats, quick oats or long cooking oats. If you're not using any grains in your diet right now, just find some oatmeal and start cooking it. Also with the brown rice. right? You just grab some brown rice at the grocery store, make a nice big pot that's easy to keep in the fridge to add into your dinners or your lunches throughout the week. Now, let's talk about oatmeal a little bit more. I do find that when people eat only oatmeal, that does cause a higher spike and a bigger crash of blood sugar than you're looking for when you have fertility in your mind. So I recommend eating oatmeal with some protein, with some nut butter or some nuts in there, even an egg on the side, something like that. Having that oatmeal in this meal that has protein and some fat in it as well, that's when you set up for the best success. Now, brown rice, you're usually going to have that with your meal, your lunch, your dinner. You could certainly have it for breakfast too, but that is going to be paired with that protein and that fat usually more often than oatmeal is. So be sure when you're having oatmeal for breakfast, add in some protein and a little bit of fat in there as well. Speaking of fat, the third thing to have in your pantry is whole fat yogurt. Now, yes, that needs to go in your refrigerator, not into your pantry, but the fridge could also be a form of a pantry. I love whole fat yogurt. It is a good source of protein. It is a good source of fat. A successful PCOS fertility diet does not need to be fat-free. And a lot of women who are working with me, we do diet journals so I can just see kind of what their typical food intake looks like. And so then I can give them really solid foundational changes to make in a positive direction. And a lot of women are choosing low fat or no fat yogurt. And that fat is a really important piece in the fertility journey. When you're eating fat from a whole food source like yogurt, it's not going to necessarily cause the numbers on the scale to increase. When you're nourishing your body and giving your body all these extra nutrients and you're having a little bit of extra fat, your body actually is able to utilize that well. And it's not going to then automatically cause the numbers on the scale to increase if that's something that you're thinking about in your fertility journey. But fat, and especially animal fats, those fats that contain cholesterol, that cholesterol is the backbone of creating progesterone and estrogen. And so it's really important to get those into the diet. Fats, they create the cell structure. They provide important components of the cell structure for your body and for baby's body as that baby is developing in your uterus. So fats are important. They're going to satisfy hunger and keep you full for a longer period of time rather than having something that is low fat or no fat that usually has extra sugar in it added into it to combat the lower taste without the fat. The fourth thing that I recommend to have in your pantry is tea. I love tea. Tea is a great addition to a fertility nutrition plan. There's a few teas that I really love. The first one that I love is spearmint tea. You may have heard of it before because it has been found to lower androgen hormones like testosterone and DHEA. So it's talked about a lot in the PCOS world. But one study found that when women with PCOS were drinking spearmint tea twice a day, within 1 month, their testosterone levels reduced, which is really exciting because that testosterone, if it's elevated for your PCOS picture, is shutting down ovulation. And how cool that a simple tea can be helping that ovulation picture. So spearmint tea is a great addition to your pantry. I also love teas like chamomile or chamomile lavender tea, those teas that are focused on reducing stress, increasing ease and relaxation. And I love those because they do help really quickly. And many women that I'm working with, maybe yourself included, there's a lot of stress in the fertility journey. And I find that these teas are really nice and relaxing. Honestly, a lot of times teas in tea bags, they're not as high of an amount of tea that's really going to bring on medicinal changes. So when I'm working with women, I have a specific tea recipe for them. But there's a few cases like the ones that I'm explaining right now, where just a tea bag is a really lovely addition to your day that can help, like the spearmint that we just talked about, this chamomile lavender. I see that it works really quickly to help calm people's nerves and to say set someone up for a really good night's sleep. The third tea that I really like is a chai or a digestion enhancing tea. Teas with spices in them like cinnamon, clove, maybe fennel, nutmeg, those kinds of spices that are going to help stimulate digestion, because digestion is such an important part of getting the nutrients in from the food that you eat. And for people that have bloating or struggle with some digestive issues, I find that these teas that have those really stimulating kind of herbs in them, herbs and spices, can be really helpful. Again, on a daily basis, just to have a little bit of tea, and that helps digestion. And the fifth food that I recommend to have on hand in a PCOS friendly pantry are nuts. Almonds, cashews, walnuts, peanuts even, those are all good to have on hand because they're a great grab and go snack. Now, when I'm working with women around PCOS and fertility, we're talking about blood sugar a lot. A lot of women have been diagnosed with insulin resistance, or they at least have some blood sugar issues. And we're working on regulating those blood sugar levels throughout the day, because that insulin level, if blood sugar is elevated, that spikes insulin, which increases testosterone, which all shuts down ovulation, okay, which you do not want. And having snacks throughout the day is actually a really helpful way to keep blood sugar levels balanced. And I love nuts because they're easy. You throw them in a little baggie. You can keep some in your purse, in your office drawer, anything. You can add a piece of fruit to them, some cheese, something, and they're just this really great addition, and they're easy to bring around with you. So those are my 5 foods that I recommend for a PCOS fertility friendly pantry. And again, this is a stepping stone to getting to a place where you're nourishing your body in a way specific to your body's needs, because that's the key. That's so often the missing step, is that individualized attention to nutrition needs. And this plays a significant part in fertility, because every time you feed yourself, you're setting your body up to have these antioxidants and nutrients on board that get you closer to baby. If you want this piece to get answered in your fertility journey, and you want to know what kind of nutrition is important for you and your growing family's needs, and if you want that support given by a doctor who is an expert in PCOS fertility, then I'm your doctor. Book a free PCOS fertility breakthrough session with me. That is the very first step to get started. When you and I are talking on the phone in your breakthrough session, we are talking about your fertility journey. What's been coming up for you over these years when you've been trying to get pregnant? What are these missing steps? What's been keeping you stuck? And you're going to walk away from that call with clarity, with clear direction, because I'm also going to share with you, okay, based on what you've been doing so far, this is the most significant next step that you can take in order to propel your fertility forward. You can sign up for one of those at drangelapotter.com/PCOS. And a reminder for those sessions, if you are currently going through an IUI cycle or a medicated cycle, or you are getting ready for an egg transfer or egg retrieval through IVF, you need to wait until those cycles are finished and you have the results of those cycles before signing up for a PCOS fertility breakthrough session. If you are loving this podcast and you want to support it, you can leave a 5-star review over on Apple Podcasts, or simply share this with your friends. And as we wrap up here today, I want to remind you that the information on this podcast is just that. It's information, and it should not replace the medical advice that you are currently getting from your doctor. And if nobody else has told you this today, I want to be the one to tell you that I believe in you, and I believe in your ability to get to the root cause of what's keeping you stuck, to turn your health around so that you have the very best chance at getting pregnant. I'll see you right back here next Wednesday.